speaking of this, there are now voices on the right that we have to start listening to. Black voices on the left that we have to start listening to. There are black voices speaking in the culture on the left that are saying things that are conservative. And, I have been asked before and was recently asked whether the Republican Party could survive with the demographics of the country changing. In other words, there are fewer white people, as more colored people came in. Could we survive? Could the Republican Party survive? And what I said was, sure we can, because who cares what color Americans are as long as they're Americans, but you have to go in and talk to people. And a lot of conservatives don't know this, but talking to people doesn't actually mean wagging your finger in their face and explaining the principles of conservatism to them. It means sharing with them the things that we know that work and that help people, and listening to them about ways in which maybe our theories and our philosophies don't fit necessarily like a glove with the situation that they're in, okay? And that's part of talking to people, is also listening to people. So recently, two things that came to my attention over the weekend that really got to me. One was Nick Cannon, an actor and comedian, who talked about Kevin Hart being banned from the Oscars, being forced to quit the Oscars, a job that Kevin Hart wanted. Like Clarence Thomas, not comparing the two, but like Clarence Thomas, came from a very tough upbringing. His father, a criminal cocaine addict, and he worked his way into show business, very difficult to do, became a star in show business, got his dream job, had to give it up because of something he said about gay people. Now, a lot of this, you will notice, a lot of stuff that's happening is gay people attacking black people. Why? Because it's not, when I say gay people, I mean gay activists. There are plenty of gay conservatives, and gay people, in my experience, are naturally conservative in a lot of ways. But these are gay people who want to stop black people from drifting in any way, becoming in any way conservative. And why is this a problem? Well, listen to what Cannon says about what happened to Kevin Hart. Let's play cut number 5.
It's a little reminiscent of McCarthyism when you think about at times like this where everyone's just scared to move, scared to speak. And I'm not. I'm very unafraid. I'm very fearless when it comes to this.
So, and go on. He goes on in cut 6.
He and I are both from the schools of the Richard Pryors, of the George Carlins, of the Robin Williams, these people that were allowed to say whatever they wanted to say, because the job of a comedian is to hold the mirror up to society and say, look. I believe all those people I retweeted have done that in the past. I believe Kevin has done that. I believe I do that. What I believe, though, is that we have to be very careful with our power, because we all come from communities that have experienced great pain. Sure. And when we start to compare our pain, that's the wrong thing. We're just doing it for a victory. We're looking for progress here. And I believe that this conversation needs to be had. But I need this conversation to happen on in an open base where no one's afraid to say how they ultimately feel, so we can grow from these experiences, opposed to talking about it in quiet, talking about it in our private sectors, and then we come and then we want to be politically correct. That's my problem. Okay. I have a problem with the politically correct aspect.
Okay, so everything this guy is saying, I agree with. Now, he probably thinks I'm the bad guy, right? He thinks, oh my gosh, an old white male, conservative Republican. And yet, here we have common ground. We want free speech. The people that he's comparing himself to, just look, an artist is an artist first. And, you can't, being an artist, I am an artist. I'm going to tell you, it is like your skin. It's like your lungs. It's like it's like when people ask you, would you rather have a happy romantic relationship, or would you rather be happy in your work? If you're an artist, saying you're not happy in your work or you're not doing your work is like saying you have no lungs. It's like saying you have no heart, no blood, you're dead. And so the guys he's comparing himself to, the Robin Williams and the Richard Pryors, he doesn't care what color they are. They're his color. They're comedian colored. They're comedian colored. And if you're committed to being a comedian, you're committed to being an artist, you're going to be committed to free speech. And that is one of the linchpins of conservatism, and one of the linchpins of keeping conservatism alive in a corporate world, where all the powerful corporations, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the NBCs are standing against you. I saw this again in a movie I watched, the Equalizer 2 with Denzel Washington. And I saw the first one of these and I didn't like, I loved the first half hour of the first one. And then it got kind of sadistic in its violence. And he was in like a Home Depot and using all these kind of DIY, do-it-yourself tools to kill people. And I thought, just shoot him. I don't want to see a nail gun. I don't want to see a guy riddled with a nail gun. I love action films, but it just got a little too much for me. This one is a much more measured story, but it's really complex. I'm running out of time, which is too bad because it's worth talking about. It's filled with identity politics stuff. The Equalizer is this guy invented, I believe, by my pal Joel Cerno, who did 24. The Equalizer is a guy who is a CIA assassin who now goes around just helping ordinary people. And it starts out with him going to Turkey to get back from a abusive Muslim guy to get back a child that he stole. But in everything he does, there's an aura of identity politics. So he helps an old Jewish guy who's been separated from his sister in the Holocaust. He helps a Muslim woman who has suffered from vandalism. He helps a black guy a black kid who's being sucked into the gangs. So it's like everybody has a sort of a problem that is according to their race. Like, it's like Jewish people have never had any other problems but the Holocaust or anti-Semitism, but everybody has a problem with his race. So there's identity politics in it. But the values in the picture are incredibly conservative. He's a Marine. He's a patriot. He believes in good and evil. He talks about manhood throughout. Almost his first line as he says, I'm looking for a man, an abusive man, and therefore not a real man. So he talks about what real manhood is. He talks about responsibility, personal responsibility, all of these things. And when he pulls, and in it, he's selling Ta-Nehisi Coates. They plug Ta-Nehisi Coates' books. And I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates because I feel he's a grievance guy. He thinks that the past can be restored. He thinks that giving money to people to pay them back for money they didn't get because of bigotry is going to work. That's an absurd notion. That never works. But okay, I'll listen. If there's something black people find in Ta-Nehisi Coates that I don't see, I'll listen to that. Because listen to this speech he makes to this young kid after he pulls him out of a gangland situation. Listen to what he tells him.
What do you see when you look at me? Tell me. You better give me a right answer to what you see when you look at me. Killer, what you see, yummy? You don't know.
Oh no. All right.
Man ain't spelled G-U-N, son. You got a choice. You got talent. You got a chance, and I want to hear about your environment, what your mama didn't give you, and the white man won't give you no shot. You got a chance. Use it while you're still alive. You don't know what death is. You have no idea what death is.
If that's not conservatism in a nutshell, you don't know what death is. Use your talent while alive. Don't worry about what the white man won't give you. Don't worry about what your environment and what your mama wouldn't do for you. I mean, is there anything in that? Is there anything in that we disagree with? Now, Denzel is a Christian, I know, but I also know he's a liberal. and yet, where do you get that message? You never get that message from the left. It is all about the game is rigged. You've got no chance. You've got to right the wrongs of the world. The wrongs of the world will never go away. They're never going away. They can get better. You can do work to right the wrongs of the world. But if you've got talent and you've got a chance, you do it just what he said. These voices are our voices. These voices are our voices. I'm an old white guy telling you that voice speaks for me. What the comedian Nick Cannon was saying, that speaks for me. That is our voice. If we can't talk to those people and listen to those people who are saying these things, then we have no future. Then we have no future. But the culture is speaking. The culture is speaking in spite of every effort on the left to shut it down. It is saying conservative things. We need to hear those things. We need to answer them. We need to listen to the people saying, because they're going to say things that don't fit in with our philosophies, and we need to shape our philosophies to fit them and help them. That can be done. All that can be done. But as long as we do that, we have hope. If we act like stupid conservatives, not paying attention to the culture and just paying attention to the next congressional election, we'll blow it all. We will blow it all.